video I'm going to talk a little bit more about paragraph styles. So in the first video we had the full introduction on how to make them. So the two ways that you can make them: you can style text first and sort of pick it up into a paragraph style, or you can select some text, make a new style, and then format the text that way. We also talked a little bit about editing styles. We went back in and changed the typeface on this without it being selected, and everything that was linked to that style, all of these paragraphs, changed that way. So we also talked a bit about the plus signs. So the plus signs happen when, if I highlight this word and I change the type size, make it a little bit more obvious, this plus sign pops up next to subtitle. So I could click once on subtitle, click once in the correct place, option click in the right place and not accidentally double click on the title like I did there. And it will go back to normal. So I'm going to undo that so I get my plus sign back. And my rollovers are being a little bit more cooperative now. So you can see here it says overrides, option click to clear, which is what I just did. And then it says size 18 points. So it tells me exactly the override I made. Let's say I made that override, accidentally or not. And I think, I actually really like that better. And I'm actually going to go in here and I'm going to increase the tracking. Just make it look a little bit more like a title, I suppose. It's a little bit much. I'm going to put the tracking at 50 and space those letters out. So let's just say I like this, I got good feedback, it's approved. So to make sure, even if I have 50 pages, as long as every single subtitle has the subtitle paragraph style, like these four do on these 2 pages, if I redefine that style, they will all change. That is the beauty and efficiency of paragraph styles. So this is the one that I have edited, and just to show you, I'm going to scroll down to this page where I don't even have anything edited. I'm going to right or control click on this plus signed paragraph style name, and I'm going to choose redefine style. That means it's going to absorb those overrides and make everything that has the subtitle style match those new overrides. And there you can see that all 4 of them changed. Awesome. So those are changes through manual override editing. I showed you in the last video, but I want to reiterate that if you make changes through the ingredients list, also everything attached to that style will change. So if I double click in here, I'm going to go down to character color, and let's say that I want to make these a shade of gray. So I'm going to leave the color on black, but I'm going to change the tint to 85. Then both of my ingredient lists will now be gray instead of black. The other thing that I did here is that the recipe title is also now showing a plus sign. Just going to roll over this. So it has the pair kerning is actually showing up as -20. And I'm just going to click through here. And you can see that it shows as pair kern of 40. And I think this one is also -20. So I'm not going to override this because probably this is not going to be the same word. And if it's going to be different letters, then it's going to be different kerning. And even in different combinations, you may not kern a word the same way. So if, let's say that this title, instead of non, was actually, Napa Valley Bread. maybe the N and the A in Napa Valley now look fine. So obviously I have a leading issue where I did not set the leading because my first title was very short. This is a really common issue you're going to come up with when you're working with paragraph styles. So I need to change this, but no problem, right? We know how to do this. So I'm going to do it through Redefine because I've only showed you how to do that once. I could, of course, double-click recipe title, go to basic character formats, change the leading to what I want, hit OK, it would change on all of them, no problem. So instead, I'm going to do an override so I can show you that again. I'm going to hold the Shift key and click the up arrow on my leading so I can get appropriate line spacing. So typically your leading is greater than your type size. So here I have 40-point leading and 50-point type. That seems a bit backwards, but if it's going to be all caps, these were both typed in all caps, then you can get away with less because for the most part you never have descenders when you have all caps, so they can be closer together. So I like this. I'm going to right or control click on my recipe title, choose Redefine, and then it looks like nothing changes, but it has absorbed those, and because this is one line you won't see it. So I'm going to make sure I click in a title and open this, and we can see in basic character formats that the leading is now 40 points. Now, because I edited the title, and now I have a title that has 2 lines, this yield line looks pretty small. So I want to edit that, and I'm going to do it sort of the original way. So I'm going to make sure nothing is selected. I'm going to double click the additional info style, make sure my preview checkbox is indeed checked. Under basic character formats, I'm going to make this look like it's almost a bit more of a subtitle. I'm going to put it up to 14 points. And just in case I have one go to 2 lines, which I would really hope not, I'm going to increase the leading a little bit so I'm kind of prepared for that. So I'm going to do 14 as a type size and the leading of 18 just to be prepared. And then, of course, both have changed because they both have the paragraph style linked to them. So those are the 2 ways to edit styles. If you see a plus sign, you want to look at it and say, have I made a mistake here? Is this something that I need to have absorbed into the rest of the styles for this item? Really think about which one of those you want to go with. If you got the plus sign, you can option click to clear it and go back to the original style, or you can right or control click and choose to redefine the style to absorb those changes in the rest of them. You can, of course, also double click to get the paragraph style options window. Just make sure that you don't have anything selected that you don't want to be selected. So you either want to double click that when you have nothing at all selected, or when you are in that style you want to edit. Because remember, anytime you single click on something, whether you're in the type tool, like that, or whether you have a whole box selected, as soon as you click once, you're going to change the style of that selected object completely to whatever style you clicked on. And if you double click, that first click changes all the styles. No! Undo. So be careful about what you have selected, and be careful about where you're making changes, and avoid those little plus signs if at all possible.